This is Real Estate 360. I'm your host, Steve Vazza. I have the pleasure to have John Pentore from Horvath and Tremblay with me today. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Great to be here. Hey, listen, we all know that Boston right now is exploding in the multifamily space, and you're right on the cusp of it. Tell me a little bit about Horvath and Tremblay. You know what you guys are doing, how you're seeing things, and you know the excitement that's building.
Yeah, so we're a commercial real estate firm located in the greater Boston area. My partner and I, Dennis Kelleher, we specialize in the sale of multifamily buildings, mixed-use buildings, development projects, primarily inside 128. We have a team of guys that cover the South Shore. We have a team of guys that cover the North Shore and Merrimack Valley. So we're pretty active in this
You've been
space.
Doing this for a long time.
Yeah, about 5 years now.
Yeah,
5 years.
yeah,
My partner's been in the business for about 10 years.
Yeah.
So we got some experience in this market.
You know, Horvath and Tremblay, it's one of the great names in the business. I mean, you guys are everywhere right now.
Yeah, we're probably one of the more active firms in the Northeast. So, we specialize in multifamily, and then we have a whole different team of guys that sell retail up the Eastern Seaboard.
So what's your vision, John? Where do you see things in the multifamily space right now in Boston?
I think Boston is it's as strong as it's ever been. Boston in general, it's become a premier city, not only nationally, but on an international scale. When you see the amount of foreign capital coming into Boston, whether it's out of China or Russia or Middle East,
Argentina, I see it all
anywhere,
over the place.
South America.
Absolutely.
I mean, anytime we get a listing in the Boston MSA, international capital is coming overseas pretty quickly for these deals. I think the reasons behind that is you're seeing, Boston for 50 years undersupplied with inventory, right? You had a lot of old brownstones, and it was kind of a staler market. And nowadays,
I remember it well. I remember those days well.
So nowadays, you're seeing Class A apartment buildings popping up,
Yeah.
and you're seeing the companies come into Boston, right? If you look at the Seaport, for example, right? You have
Absolutely.
Vertex open up a beautiful building, GE coming in, Alexion coming from Connecticut, and with those companies that are coming in is high-paying jobs and people that can, earn more, they can pay more for rents, and they want these beautiful amenity type buildings.
And how do you see the level of product that's coming on the market relative to the demand?
Level in terms of like the finishes and things like that?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you've seen a big surplus of better quality product over the past few years.
Well, you have to, because there's so much competition where so many of these people, the young millennials and whatnot, they're coming from other places where, they're expecting a higher level of finish.
Absolutely. Condo quality apartments, whether you want to go to a building that has a gym or a concierge or a coffee shop or a fitness center inside the building, or you go down the street and maybe you can't pay as much for that $4,000 two-bed, you'll pay $3,200, but you're going to have a beautiful condo quality building too. So you're seeing a lot more good inventory in the marketplace. Yeah,
so. There's a lot of demand, and landlords, they need to offer those amenities. I mean, I think of my own personal daughter. She lives in Denver, and it's not dissimilar in terms of what they're expecting. Like you said, fitness and dog parks and recreation, and they want to be able to ride their bikes to work and have all the local services right there, the coffee shops, and it's a completely different dynamic than it was years ago. And Boston is just exploding.
It has. If you look back 10 years ago, landlords just raised their rents, right? And not even updated their apartments. You got 80s style apartments, and they would just raise their rents, and the tenants would stay no problem. Nowadays, the tenants are becoming more sophisticated too. So if they're in a building that they're getting charged $1,800 for a two-bed or $2,000, and their landlord says, I'm going to bump your rent to $2,400, $2,500, but I'm not going to update a kitchen, I'm not going to update a bathroom, I'm going to keep that beautiful pink tile on the wall in the bathroom, the tenants can be like, great, I'm going to go somewhere else because I can go down the street and get a condo quality building and pay maybe a little bit more, but I'm going to be much happier in that space.
Absolutely. We see it all the time. So let me ask you, John, what kind of pressures is that putting on the suburban market right now? I mean, what are the trends in the suburban space?
I think you've seen actually it's had a positive impact in the suburban markets. Why? You had people that they can maybe only pay for an $1,800 apartment in Boston, and that's not available anymore, or $2,000 in Cambridge, and now that's a $2,800 market for a two-bed. So they still want to stay close to the city because the jobs are here, or they work in Kendall Square, they work in Boston, or they want to stay close to Boston. So now they're going to the towns that are touching it with the transportation, and you're seeing the rental growth. It's kind of flattened out a little bit in Boston because of the amount of inventory. That's going to be fine. It's going to get absorbed.
It's going to get absorbed. There's no question about it.
Income growth.
Yeah.
But the suburbs have definitely benefited positively from people that want to stay close. They go a little bit outside. They can pay a little bit less. And still be close to where they are.
And still get a great product. It's very, very well said. So let me ask you, where do you see? I mean, you're all over the place. You're seeing suburban, downtown. Where do you see opportunity in the market?
I would say those second. Well, first of all, Boston's still fantastic, and that's always going to be Boston's, the Cambridges, the Somervilles, close to the Boston MSA is still going to be a fantastic market.
Boston's a unique place. I mean, it's a world-class city.
World-class city now. It's come a long way to being a premier city now.
Yep.
But I see the secondary markets, even the towns that are touching, the Cambridges and the Somervilles and the Bostons for this world, the towns that have great transportation, the commuter rails. I'll give you an example. We've been doing a lot recently in Waltham, Massachusetts, which is right inside that 128 belt. And you've seen a tremendous uptick in property values and rents in Waltham because what makes the Cambridges and the Somervilles and downtown Boston so great? You have the universities, you have the jobs, you have the hospitals, you have a dense demographic. And Waltham has all that stuff. You have 2 universities, you have a commuter rail that goes into Boston, you're 10 miles from Boston, you have bus lines.
Highway straight into the city.
Yeah, and a lifestyle. You got a great downtown area. So a lot of investors that maybe they don't want to chase the 5 cap in Boston or a 5.5 cap in Cambridge, they can still get a 6 cap or 6.5 cap
in Waltham,
and they'll go to Waltham and they're going to be just fine because it has all the factors that
Waltham's always been a good market. We've developed in Waltham, and like you said, it's right on the cusp. It's just a great. I've always thought Waltham's a dynamic place to be.
Very
absolutely. Yep. So let's talk about trends in the market. What are you seeing for trends these days?
We have seen, and like I said, this isn't really a negative, but we've seen in Boston that the rents have flattened a little bit over the past few years.
Yep.
I think the reason behind that is you've seen close to 10,000 new apartments added to the Boston market over the past few years. So there's a lot of inventory. There's a lot of stuff for tenants to choose from. Now, I don't think those apartments will get absorbed. I don't think that's a negative. What's interesting is even though the rents have flatlined, the cap rates have actually dropped.
They have.
Lower,
I was
right?
discussing that with somebody the other day. They've actually come down.
Have actually gone up a little bit too.
Absolutely.
So I think that just speaks volumes to all the positive attributes that Boston provides.
Well, like you said before, I mean, we have a dynamic city here. I mean, between the universities and just take the seaport in and of itself. I mean, I can certainly remember back, not all too long ago, they used to park cars over there. Okay. Now
parking lot on the waterfront. That was it.
Now it's a city unto itself. I mean, it's bigger than most cities in the United States. Just that section of Boston. I mean, and like I said, I can remember, years ago, you'd park your car and you'd walk over to the financial center. Right. Boston has become just a hub for international wealth, and people want to come here. They want to study here. So I completely agree with you that the number of apartments that are being built, they're going to be absorbed, and they're probably going to be absorbed in short order.
Absolutely.
Exciting time here in Boston. So there it is. You've heard it straight from John Pentore, Horvath and Tremblay, right here on Real Estate 360. Well done.